You might be wondering, why am I trying to climb this massive work of art? Actually, this is not me trying to climb it. This is me attempting to figure out how I might climb it. Attempting being the operative word here. Okay, maybe I'll just pose in front of it. Like this. Anyway, why was I considering climbing it? Well, sometimes that's the point of public installations. These are the thoughts of the artist El Cid, who you can see here climbing his new work of art in Dubai. And he's doing a much better job than me. This week, El Cid unveiled this colossal and stunning site-specific installation, which he created in collaboration with Tashkeel, the visual art and design studio incubator in the UAE. This is part of the Dubai Public Art Initiative, which was launched by Dubai Culture with the aim to transform Dubai into an open-air museum. It's such an imperative initiative that will make art accessible to all. And you all know how I feel about making art more accessible. It's so important. The commission is entitled Takhayyal, the Arabic word for imagine, which El Cid told me is a concept that allows you to break barriers and imagine beyond limits. El Cid is a French-Tunisian artist who gained attention around the world for his calligraphy and murals. They reimagine Arabic script through graffiti and contemporary concepts. His practice has developed into sculptural forms that fuse those same ideas of heritage, language, form, and contemporary aesthetics. El Cid is really one of the pioneers who brought Arabic calligraphy to a mainstream audience and showcasing it on a global stage through his fusion of street and pop art. Not only did he make Arabic calligraphy accessible to a diverse number of people, but he also made it, for a lack of a better word, cool. El Cid was also an artist in residence at Tashkeel in 2013 and had his first solo exhibition there entitled Declaration. I was really excited to speak to El Cid, can you tell, about Takhayyal on the day of its unveiling. So I hope you enjoy our conversation and let me know what you think. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, cool.
Mabruk about this amazing
Barak
work.
fik, man.
So I'm going to ask you the same question I ask every artist about a piece of work to start
Okay.
off with. Which was more challenging, starting or finishing this piece?
I think this piece was not the start, you know what I mean? It was like the process of something that started like almost 10 years ago here in Tashkeel exactly, where I start moving from 2D to 3D. So I think this is, I don't want to say the end of the process, but one point in this long process.
Does it feel like a full circle moment in a way?
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
because I started working with 3D when I was doing my art residency in Tashkeel in 2013,
Yeah.
and you know, like now Tashkeel is under renovation, and so there is a new Tashkeel coming up, and with a new sculpture, you know, like here. So I feel yeah, this is a kind of homage, you know, like to the spirit of Tashkeel, you know, and what is it and what it represents to me, you know, like this place where you can just think beyond, you know, beyond the box, imagine.
Yeah.
And that's why like the word is like the calligraphy says Takhayyal, imagine. It allows you like yeah to break all these barriers and all those boxes that keep you somewhere, you know, like and thinking you're definitely outside the box and allow you like to yeah to not to dream big but to imagine beyond, you know, like any limit.
So this is also kind of like a homage to your time here at Tashkeel, right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
So tell me more a little bit about that collaborative process working with Tashkeel on the sculpture. Like, did they give you full reign? Did you do whatever you want? Or was there a bit of back and forth and discussing?
No, it was a back and forth with Sheikh Latifa. You know, Sheikh Latifa, she's a very good friend. I say like she's a kind of sister to me, and you know like it was, you know, like she very critical of my work, and that's what I appreciate about her. Critical in a good way, you know, saying like actually this is too easy, or like Fawzi, you should maybe push a bit. And I think it's interesting as an artist, you know, like to sometimes remove your ego and accept like criticism from people who see it, who want you to do well and to move forward in a good
It's
way.
a critical thing for artists,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Very important, yeah.
And me, I appreciate that because she knows how to do it in the right way, not like in an aggressive way, you know. And I think we know each other like for more than 15 years now, so I accept, you
Yeah.
know. And so it was like a back and forth, you know. And the idea was really to create the world as if it was coming out of the ground, you know, like as a
Yes.
kind of flame growing up, and yeah, like as a kind of seed that you planted that goes up. So that's the idea.
And do you think that kind of dialogue and conversation and critical appraisal of your work, does it also improve the work? Like when you look at the first designs of this wonderful sculpture,
Yeah.
do you now see it and, oh, it's so much different from my first idea?
Actually, yesterday I was speaking with her about this, and I didn't even remember the first sketches. You know, that's the funny thing because now like after she told me, I went back to the archive and I was like, actually, this definitely worked better. But I think it's important, for artists to to allow yourself to speak with other people,
Yes.
because you sometimes somebody will guide you toward the path that you wouldn't take it,
Yeah.
instinctively. So you just go and yeah, I don't mind having this. I don't mind having people who tell me like, hey, what don't you think of this? You know what I mean?
So you think also for artists it's important to doubt yourself sometimes?
Yeah, definitely. You have to do this.
Mm.
Otherwise, you don't. I think otherwise it's an ego thing. You believe that you, like you have like the best opinion or anything. I think it's always great sometimes to speak to people about you. I mean, people close to you, people understand your practice,
Mm.
so they can tell you, oh, actually, maybe why didn't you think of this? You know what I
Mm.
mean? And then on the other side, the person has to also find the right way to tell you.
Yeah.
So I think it has to be conversation and
Yeah. So a question about your process now, or about even your style, because like you said, you started off 2D, now
Yeah.
you're doing more
Yeah.
3D. When your work is coming off the page or off the screen, right, to become 3D, are there ever moments where you're like, oh no, stop, I need to go back, something does not look right in the it as a physical piece?
I think there's always like tweaking, but when I work with 3D, I usually see the piece in my head.
Mm.
I draw it on paper, and then there's people in my team who helps me like to make it like as a 3D piece, modelize it. But it's like I said, it's a process, and for me, I think the most difficult thing at the beginning was really to manage to explain to people who do
Yes.
modelization, to modeling, to put it as I saw it. And there is a
Yeah.
guy called Bahar al-Bahar who's actually the first guy who managed to understand,
What you're trying to do.
yeah, and I met him in Tashkeel. He was a
Oh,
Tashkeel member,
amazing.
and because for a year I was like making some tests and experiment and it didn't work. And Bahar, the funny part, he was having a studio here.
Yeah.
But I used to pass in front of him. Like we never discussed. And then one day, like after a few months, we discussed, and I'm like, look, I want to do this, and we sat down. He's like, oh, you can do this way, and then he managed really to help me to concretize, like to make it really concrete, and then that was the start of this full adventure.
That's the point of places like Tashkeel,
Yeah.
these spaces where you meet people and make these connections,
Yeah.
right? I know that you really focus on the meanings of words and how they look. So how did you? I mean, it's a perfect word really
Yeah.
for this project. So I'm wondering how you came to it.
Now, Sheikh Latifah, she told me, Fawzi, I would love to have like a sculpture that says Takhayyal, imagine. And I think this is definitely like the spirit of Tashkeel. Since she told me this, I noticed that a lot of time when she speaks, she said Takhayyal, like imagine if you could, you know what I mean? Or imagine, like when you propose something, it's like I'm working on this project and I want to do this, and she's like, imagine you do it with this, And so I think that's beautiful to start words with that. So because when you start a phrase with the word imagine, you allow yourself like to
imagine.
Yeah, to imagine, but to expand actually the scope of possibility.
And when do you know when to stop when you're designing how you're going to stylize the word, right?
Yeah.
Like you said before, this great thing, it looks like it's coming out from the ground, صح? But I always wonder, like, when is too much? When is the word not a word anymore? And when is it still a word? Where is that balance?
Look, I don't see it as a word. When I work with 3D, I really see it as shapes, and then I try to bring the letters or like the shape of the letters to match the shape that I want to do. So I build something as mostly like a shape, like a shekel, tashkil, and then like the word comes, So that's the challenge to have a piece that represents something in a way, but still something that you can still decipher.
Yeah. What I loved before is that you were jumping up on the sculpture. And I mean, I don't think you recommend for people to do that generally.
I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting because I was going to ask when you have an artwork that's in the public sphere, right?
Yeah.
You kind of can't control who touches it, who doesn't touch it. So were you imagining like people getting on there, touching it, getting on top?
That's the point of it, like if you create a piece in the public space and you don't allow people to interact with it, I think it's boring. And I think that's most of the public art piece in the Arab world, unfortunately were put on like roundabout. So you never interact with them. You see them, you turn around them, but you never get the chance to touch them or like just try to understand or like see the material or whatever. And for me, this is the point of pieces. Like even the one I did in front of Dubai Opera. I want people to climb on it. So even sometimes me, I go there and I climb, and then the security come. They're like, hey, no, you have to get down. You're not allowed. I'm like, I'm allowing people to do this, and that's the point. And that's the beauty of it, like to allow people to interact with it, to climb it, and then for me that's the best thing when people see something that I didn't intend. I didn't
Yeah.
create. The purpose was not that at the beginning.
Can you tell me about the color choice? Because it's a great color choice for the landscape here and for the building behind us. So I'm wondering why you chose a specific color.
Like pink is actually a color that I use in a lot of my work. It became also like a signature. Even somebody told me, I want to reach to Pantone so we can like register like the 219C pink under your name. I was like, wow. And actually Barbie, she did it before me. So,
Yeah.
so I'm pissed, yeah.
She got there before you.
Yeah. So sad. But, like when you look at calligraphy, classical calligraphy, the use of color was not something that was really, really there. In calligraphy, it's mostly like gold, black, and for me, using pink was a way of clashing with this, but also like a way of expressing, like one part of my identity, which is, like the graffiti culture where you have like super flashy color, and the piece in Tashkeel was when I did my first show was pink, So for me, it was also kind of a clin d'œil to Declaration, this first exhibition of sculpture that I've done here.
Again, full circle moment, you're coming
Exactly,
back.
yeah.
The last question I wanted to ask you was, what do you hope people will feel or think when they first drive by here and see this work and they first experience it?
I think first the surprise, because that's the first feeling that I had when first day I turned and I saw the piece, so because you don't expect that here. And then interaction, I really want people to interact with it. I really want people to stop, like you have a nice parking spot here, like you come and take picture, climb on it, you know what I mean, and hopefully feel inspired.